Hello and welcome back to a short tutorial about making a nice day and night cycle in Unity 3D. So we're going to focus on controlling the ambient color, the directional light color, the rotation of the directional light, and the fog color. To achieve this, we're going to create two scripts. One script is going to hold the preset for our lighting conditions, and the other script is going to execute those lighting conditions in the scene, allowing us to control the lighting as the time of day changes. Once we've opened up the lighting preset in our IDE of choice, we're going to set it to be a scriptable object. If you haven't encountered these before, I recommend looking them up. I'll link to a good tutorial in the description, but the TLDR is it's going to enable us to share one specific preset between scenes by creating a file. So next we'll add an attribute to the top of the class, and this will enable us to create an instance of the class as a file in the Unity editor when we right-click. So finally we can add some variables to our class. I'm going to add ambient color, light color, and fog color as gradients, as this allows us to easily change the color in the inspector. If you wanted to, you could also add fog intensity as an animation curve, or as a particular color channel of a gradient. However, just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to leave out the fog intensity. So now that we've got the preset class sorted out, let's go ahead and create an instance of it in our project directory. And then I'm just going to assign some decent values in my own time. So now we can move on to our controller. Let's first set up some variables. The first one I want is going to be a directional light, and I'm going to make these private, but I'm going to expose them in the inspector using the serialized field attribute. Next, I'll need a reference to my preset, and I'll also need a reference to a variable that's going to keep track of time, so I'll be able to see the changes when I update the time on the actual scene itself. I'm also going to add an attribute to this class. I'm going to add the execute and edit mode attribute. If you're using later versions of Unity, it might be the execute always attribute. And what this is going to do is it's going to execute certain methods in this class whilst we're not running the game and whilst we're in the Unity editor. There are certain conditions attached to this. For example, the update method only gets called when something in the scene changes or you change one of the variables, but this will be perfect if we want to adjust our time of day whilst we're not playing the game and see the changes happen in the scene whilst we're still in the editor. So because I'm a forgetful person, I'm going to write in a onValidate function, which is going to get called every time we reload the script or we change something in the inspector, and it's just going to check that if we haven't already set our directional light, we'll just set it to whichever directional light is the sun in the scene. And if for some reason we've also forgot to set that particular variable, we'll just do a quick search in the scene and find the first directional light we come across. So next we'll write a method to change our lighting settings dependent on the time of day. It's going to take an input variable that's going to range from 0 to 1, and all we need to do is just set our render settings by evaluating all of the different gradients in our preset with that given time of day, presuming that the time of day is ranging from 0 to 1. So now all that we've got left to do is to set up our directional light. First we'll check if we have actually assigned our directional light, and next let's change the color and set the rotation. The exact value you want to set the rotation to will depend on if you're using the Unity procedural sky or something else. Alternatively, you might want to add another vector in to specify the angle by which you wish to rotate at. So at long last, we'll just finish off this class by writing the update method. Now the first thing we want to do is to check if we've actually assigned the preset, because if we're trying to use the preset in all these instances without actually having it assigned, we're going to have a bad time. So we're just going to return if we've not got it assigned. Next, we want to update the lighting. However, if the application is playing, I want to update the time. and then update the lighting. Because I've set my time of day to be from 0 to 24, and I want to pass in a 0 to 1 value to my update lighting method, I'm just going to divide it by 24. And now we should have the finished product, so to speak, and we can go ahead and check it out in our editor. So as you can see, when we change the value in the inspector, whilst the game is not running, it's just going to call update lighting and set our scene lighting conditions to that of our preset at the given time. And when the application is playing, it's just going to increment the time of day by itself and update the lighting afterwards. So that's it for a super basic day and night cycle controller. I'll probably do an update video with being able to change the real-time GI, reflection probes, materials, as well as have a editor extension so you don't have to keep switching back to your preset every time you want to make changes. So I hope this helps you with your own projects. I've put some links in the description where you can grab the code, and if you want to grab the actual project with all the little assets that I've made, there's a link in the description to my Patreon. And hopefully over the next couple of weeks I'll make a few more videos with some interesting stuff to play around. So until next time, good luck on your own game projects, and I'll see you again.